Greetings, everyone. Very excited to meet you all again. Probably during the mid-year. This Ask the Chair session is very important. The significance here is we want this to be a platform for our volunteer leaders at grassroots level to directly interface with, the global steering committee to share your, thoughts, your request, what kind of additional support you need. That is the spirit why we introduced this program the last 2 years, which has been pretty successful. So today, the primary goal is that, what hack has done in the last 120, 40 days, that's what we are going to focus on. So the session is going to be divided into two different segments. The first 30 minutes will talk about, what the hack has delivered and what direction we are spearheading, for the rest of the year. And then the rest of the 30 minutes, we wanted to be more, open forum where we would love to interact with the audience here and then basically take some questions and make it to be more like a fireside chat, I would say, you know. So I see there are three audience. Saurabh, good to see you here. And Kanduri Sairam, I think I met him last time as well. I think he attended the last session. Himanshu, Sandeep. So kudos to everyone who has joined today. And I'm sure the session has been recorded and we'll post it in our website. So if you're not able to join, today, folks will be able to still listen to the session. So with that said, let's primarily get on to the session right now. So the focus is today is going to be on. We'll give an overview quickly about site and hack, and then we'll talk about where we stand. I don't have to repeat this, but as you all know, HAC is a global committee which reports to the IEEE Board of Directors, and our mandate for our committee is to inspire, engage, and connect IEEE volunteers at grassroots level, so that we could empower the volunteers to actually put their technical skills into action to solve some of the grandest challenges faced in your local community. Now, HAC actually focuses on primarily on several important focus areas. One is primarily like creating awareness, right? So we wanted to conduct more outreach efforts so that potential IEEE members and existing IEEE members will know how they could participate in this kind of programs, how they could put their technical skills, for the larger and greater purpose here, for social good here, right? Secondly, HAC provides a lot of opportunity in terms of skill development for our members. We provide educational programs, we provide training courses in ILN, IEEE Learning Network. We provide workshops and whatnot. We provide the real world, project experience so that you could gain, feet on the ground experience. So in a nutshell, here the goal is to actually provide a lot of opportunities to our volunteers so that not only they can put the technical skills, but also they will be provided an out of the box experience which will empower them and prepare them to be ready to onboard to industry or to pursue higher education in a specific engineering specialization. So one interesting data point here is that about 400 to 500 people have participated in the hack site courses on the IEEE Learning Network. So if you have not taken this courses, definitely I will urge you to encourage you to take these courses. They really help you to have the necessary skills to design and deliver the hack or site projects holistically from end-to-end standpoint. And thirdly, one of the bread and butter for HAC's program is basically providing, financial support or funding to drive the projects on the ground, right? We used to have two distinct programs between HAC and site, but the last 2 years we kind of converged our program so that we could, empower more volunteers to primarily focus on the COVID-related, topics. So this year, we have set up a new benchmark where we received about 156 project proposal, which is the record highest, and from 34 countries. This is from our first call for, and then we are funded about 18 projects so far, and we expect there will be more addition as we close out a couple of more reviews in the next few days. Now, needless to say, last year we had a record-breaking growth in the joint program, which was launched collectively between HAC and site. Totally, we received, I would say about 249 projects under the umbrella of HAC, and we funded over 100 projects last year successfully. So this clearly demonstrate, in spite of the pandemic situation, that HAC programs not only empower, they provides real value proposition to our members, different class of members, so that they could continue to invest on these programs, so that they can positively give it back to the society. At the same time, they can also advance their technical skills, making them to be more professionally strong to pursue their career interest. And lastly, the goal here is we want to actually create a larger our mandate here is to make IEEE a leader in sustainable development space, and our strategy to do that is to create a global ecosystem where we would like to bring together different players both within IEEE and outside of IEEE, so that we could collectively solve this problem together. Okay, so with that said, um, let's go on to the next slide. Now, how HAC fits into the the larger strategic plan here, right? For IEEE to be successful, it's very important that we really need a HAC. Like the reason is that it's very critical. I mean, as you can see here, there are five major pillars how HAC contributes to the larger vision and the strategic mission of IEEE, right? The first one is, we spoke about how, HAC is important in terms of creating this ecosystem, right? So HAC today leads, if you go back to the previous slide. So we bring together, the different players within IEEE and, outside of IEEE, external to IEEE. In a nutshell, the goal is to make IEEE a world leader in the sustainable development space. Secondly, we provide more awareness and public visibility on, what is the exact role of engineers? Why should engineers even participate in this kind of programs? So in a nutshell, we not only conduct outreach, but also we provide a larger public visibility on this kind of programs. And thirdly, we provide educational resources, which we already have touched upon. And fourthly, the most important, I feel like, the feet on the ground experience. If you are a student, basically, you get to work on a real world project. In a nutshell, you gain very important skills, which is not offered in a classroom setup, actually, right? So, and if you are already early in your career, then it provides a very unique opportunity to pursue your passion, like outside of your work interest, you know. And lastly, as I said, here we are building a better future so that we can bring in positive changes in the life of, the marginalized population throughout the world. So in a nutshell, all these five different pillars contribute to the larger vision of IEEE, which is advancing technology for the benefit of humanity. So hack hack activities and hack programs are truly matching or perfectly matches the larger vision of IEEE here. Next slide. Again, what are the major benefits? Why should we need to engage in, right? And as you all know, you can be a site member. You don't need to be an IEEE member. It doesn't cost you anything, but you get enormous amount of benefits, right? The first thing is the training and awareness, right? We spoke about it, whether it's getting, improving your skill set through organized educational resources, or to put your skills into action. We have a solid, offering there. Secondly, the professional development also we spoke about it. I mean, not only at a personal level it's satisfying, but also like it helps you to enhance your technical skills and your programmatic skills. Thirdly, the greater purpose, right? I mean, the larger purpose here. I mean, all of us as an individual, we get the greater satisfaction from bringing a positive change in the living conditions of the marginalized population. And fourthly, the project funding. We not only give you the direction, but we also provide financial support and additional resources to help you to be successful there. And connection to a global network. Yeah, we have more than 17,500 members toward the globe today, right, for site, which is a record-breaking, milestone. So you are part of a larger family, and you name any problem space or any technical expertise, there are people who will be able to assist you both in mentoring as well as even to serve as a provide you the necessary support for you to drive your programs. And lastly, as I said, we are the global mission here is to make IEEE a world leader in sustainable space, and HAC basically within IEEE is the front runner in spearheading that. Next slide. Okay, so let's talk about what is site, right? I mean, many of you already know about site, so I'm going to keep it brief here. While one of the most popular program that the HAC offers today is the site program, which is essentially like a feet on the ground initiative. So the primary premise here is that we want to bring together our IEEE volunteers, the local nonprofit, the local players, and the local community to collectively work together in an ecosystem model where we would like to understand the needs of the local community and solve it using technological solutions or technological interventions, right? That is the primary vision or the goal behind site as a program. But amazingly, one thing I would like to call out here is that site has seen a phenomenal growth. We have almost grown from 4,500 members to 17,500 members in the last 2.5 years. And needless to say that this clearly talks about how IEEE members are really passionate about like participating in site programs. And today we have about 75 percentage of site members are about student members, which is a very important call out because students find this to be very valuable and very attractive given the value proposition what HAC and site delivers to them. And lastly, you can see that we are truly a global program. We have about 180 site groups, and we have a strong presence in about 53 countries. And as you all know, site was originally institutionalized or established in the year 2011. So we are celebrating a major milestone for the program, which is the 10th anniversary for site this year. Next slide. Okay, so specifically, I would like to highlight a few major, like achievements, what we have delivered, in the last few months. So the first call out here is on the COVID related program. So when the pandemic hit us last year, we didn't stop. Basically, we said like we'll go out and we will roll out a quick program which will empower our volunteers so that they can continue to put their skills trying to address some of the most demanding challenges pertaining to the pandemic. So you can see totally we have supported close to like we have received about 385 proposals, in the last 18 months, clearly in the last 1.5 years. And as you can see, clearly reflects that, this is almost 10 times growth or 5 times growth at least, in the last few years, what you have seen here. And again, many of these projects have again like have applied they have applied they have been successfully implemented, and they have again come back for scaling up funding. So this is a victory and success of the like volunteers like you all who are in the call today. I mean, who are doing your projects at the grassroots level and bringing a change. So we are super proud, and we are very excited to have such an impactful year for Hack and Site. Next slide. So you can see here, this is again last year. You can see the gamut here, like you can see how we have a very diversified participation here, pretty much covering all the 10 regions, I would say here, like you can see like Africa, you can see like in Asia, India has a stronger presence. You can see Uganda, Nigeria, Malaysia, Pakistan, Kenya. So there's a huge, like representation here when it comes to IEEE members' interest on participating, in our program. And then you can see here one interesting call out. The first, call for what we have received here. We can see here increasingly how within IEEE the members from different entities are contributing to hack and site proposals. Right. For example, you can see almost 50%, more than 50% of our projects proposal came from IEEE members who are affiliated to IEEE societies. 45 proposals were submitted purely from student branches, and 33 proposals are from MGA groups, YPs and WIEs. So and 18 has been funded from 8 different countries so far from 4 regions. And many of the projects will will be starting their groundwork in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So this is definitely a big win for us. And you can also see here, this year we want to systematically to empower our volunteers. So we have created a project monitoring committee, as well as we have a committee of practice. So the idea is that we look through all these different categories of projects, and we kind of put into different thematic areas so that you have resources, you have like leaders in those thematic areas who can provide the necessary guidance, so that our volunteers and our members could be successful in the efforts they are taking. And you can see here, we have a bunch of thematic areas like food security, ICT, infection control devices, medical devices, power, PPE, and so on. So definitely, I think not only we want to provide funding, but we also wanted to provide you the continuous, process here in terms of, community of practice and project monitoring, so that you can be systematically successful in your approach. Next slide. So you can see here the relative growth here, very, very interesting numbers. And you can see here 2021, how we are massively like growing across the board. The number of countries, the number of proposals received, definitely this is an amazing trend. We are super thrilled with this. And we really encourage everyone to actively participate in our upcoming call fair, which is going to be opened around the second week of July, and the call closes again around August 16th. So definitely, if you have a project that is relevant to pandemic, go and apply for it. And for the second call fair, we don't want to limit ourselves only to the pandemic one, but if you have other pressing needs that is of paramount importance to your local community, definitely you can submit that as well as part of the upcoming call for. Next slide. So let's see some really great work done by our volunteers here. Okay, so this is an interesting project done in India, which is an automatic soil monitoring and irrigation system for COVID-19 migrants. So this project primarily was done involving the local students and professional members in Jakarta, India. And you can see here the project description. As you can see here, a smart irrigation, mobile-based solution was created, so that they wanted to actually like monitor different parameters of the local agricultural lands. And then they want to leverage machine learning models and AI solutions, basically to systematically decide when they wanted to like trigger the sprinklers and so forth. So this project was help the local agriculture agriculturalists or the farmers to conserve their water resources, but also it helped them to actually like effectively manage the resources, so that they could increase their crop yield, and in turn contribute their economic well-being of the local community. So this program has already applied for another round of funding to expand or scale out their installation. So clearly, this is a big success, which demonstrate how this is an important aspect which contribute to the food security aspect of it for the local community. Next slide. Again, big project last year from Uganda, the Handsfree opening door system. Again, here, this project was primarily driven by the local student branch along with the WA chapter members in Uganda section. And one fascinating aspect here is that 60% of the participants were women members. Definitely, HAC focuses on empowering diversity, and we are a big proponent in terms of encouraging women engineers and giving them opportunity. And you can see here, this project primarily focused on creating door opening devices, so that we could reduce the exposure to viruses, which is one of the key factors that needs to be addressed given the pandemic situation. And you can see here the testimonial from the local, students, right? I mean, you can see here that they're pretty happy that this project provided them the necessary skill set and made them to contribute to an important problem which is impacting the local community here. About 800 devices were installed successfully, covering various places like government offices, banks, and media houses, and so forth. This is again a very, very classical example of you could bring in an impact to a local community. Next slide. Okay, another example from Indonesia, and again this is purely driven by the local WA affinity group there. So they conducted a series of virtual workshop on informational, literacy. Again, the goal here is the pandemic impacted everyone, and here the goal was to again provide educational opportunities so that we could continue to keep the local audience, motivated. At the same time, provide valuable training so that they could, continue to educate and, continue to gain skills. So again, this is a great project, and this again was also funded as part of our IEEE donor funded program. So again, as you all know, site is a foundation supported program, IEEE Foundation supported, donor supported program. So we really are again thankful to the foundation here for supporting our site efforts. Next slide. So one thing you can see here as a common pattern is that you can see how WA members, how young professionals, I mean, this is again a great project done by the YP members in Brazil, where they kind of put the technical skills to repair the local machineries in hospitals such as ventilators, and they also train the other volunteers. This particular project won the MGA award, and it was also featured in the IEEE Spectrum. And you can see here the testimonial, right? I mean, the project certainly had the local and the non-members as well, to understand the challenges faced by the local COVID communities impacted with COVID, but also it solved a very important supply chain issue when it comes to making sure that your local machineries in the hospitals are functional and they're operating. Again, this is purely done by the local young professionals. So you can see that examples here, right? You have students, you have professional members, you have non-members, you have WA members. So definitely there is a lot of value proposition that HAC is adding, in serving the needs of the global community here. Next slide. One more example in US. Again, this is a very interactive digital training tool. This was designed in San Diego. Again, this is again to create more awareness about what are the best practices when it comes to understand about the COVID situation. And particularly this program was delivered in 3 different, endpoints, web-based, desktop-based, and mobile-based. And the goal here is they wanted to create more awareness, especially among the school children in the San Diego metropolitan area. And they came really, really helpful and handy to make it to be a fun-filled activity to create this awareness among young children. Next slide. Okay, so let's talk about the upcoming funding, right? I mean, we talk about how we have delivered a new bar raising growth. Now let's talk about what are the upcoming opportunities that you could participate. So as I called out, we are having a second round of call fair starting in 12th of July, and it goes till 16th August. So definitely apply for it. And again, one more call out here is that we are also increasing the support what we could give for our members. So HAC has joined, I mean, it has rolled out a joint partnership programs with Region, and we are piloting with Region 10 first, where we are providing up to $500. If you have an interesting problem that is relevant to the pandemic, you can apply for this funding. We are also going to have additional programs being launching with our society partners. So definitely there is going to be a lot more opportunity, for members to apply for this funding for the rest of the year. So definitely I will urge you all to apply for this funding and keep a close eye on our website and newsletter, because the next 6 months you will have plenty of more opportunity. Apart from the regular call fair, you are going to have opportunities to the regions, societies, and special pilot programs and so forth. So definitely this is a big win, and we really wanted to create more avenues of engagement and opportunity for our members. So this is a big win for HAC, that we are going outside of our avenue, and we are empowering our regions and societies to jointly roll out these programs. Next slide. Okay, so let's quickly talk about our report card here, what we have delivered so far, right? So let's talk about that. So as you see here, this year our strategic objective is to actually increase our presence and collaborations within IEEE. So we have multiple project funding programs that we are going to announce soon with our society partners. We already have a successful partnership that's going to be announced with EDS, APS, Photonics, PES. There are multiple society programs we are working, and you will hear many programs uniquely being launched this year. Secondly, the regional partnership also, as I called out earlier, we are working with all the 10 regions very closely with the regional leadership, so that we could actually roll out programs which is very relevant and addresses the specific needs of the region. And a classical example here is the Region 10, joint program which got announced a couple of weeks back. So if you are in Region 10, definitely will encourage you to look into it. And again, apart from this, we are working with YP, SAC, WIE. For example, we are going to have a couple of pilots this year. We are working with HKN under the EAB, and we are also working with the tab, basically, like with and also with standards and so forth. So there is a lot of pilot programs and strategic initiatives which is going to be happening this year. Again, the biggest call out here is that we are going to host the first ever, HAC Global Summit virtually around 9th and 10th of November, and some big announcements will be coming pretty soon on this. So definitely look for there's going to be a lot of avenue for members to participate in this global summit. So definitely, look for it. And also we launched, this year we launched uh, a new version of a newsletter called a Sustainable Development Newsletter, covering the breadth and width of HAC and site activities. And starting this year, we have started reporting quarterly reports, publishing quarterly reports for board of directors. And this quarterly report, the one we published in Q1, talks about the major milestones, what you have delivered in Q1. And a couple of weeks, we are going to, probably publish our second one as well. So definitely look forward for it. And lastly, we are also actively collaborating with global agencies. For example, HAC organized the first ever side event in the STI forum, which is again a global forum where we had UN players and other industrial players participating there. And lastly, we are looking for improving our process continuously. We are making some operational changes. We are coming out with a new, operational handbook for site, so that we could provide a systematic process in place to govern the operations of site and HAC at grassroots level. Next slide. So clearly you can see here the breadth and width of collaborations what we have delivered this year, so far, right? I mean, this is a continuous journey. We are really grateful to all our partners, and there are initiatives which we are rolling out as we speak here with different partners here. Strong presence with all the 10 regions, foundations, tech ethics, MTTS, entrepreneurship, move on disaster management, WIE, on the society fronts. So you can see the growth is very, very holistic. And this is the first time we are scaling up to such a kind of massive partnership across the board. And again, this is possible based on the interest and the contributions of our partners, as well as the grassroots leaders like you all who are making a big difference. Next slide. Okay, so to summarize so far, these are some key highlights. The region partnership is the first of its kind, and we are continuing to engage with other partners. And on the society front, we are really grateful to some of the early adapters like EDS, who have already contributed up to $25,000, and APS has already pledged another $25,000. So this is a massive win, and we really are thankful to our the society board and the leadership. And we are also like working beyond the regular partnership. For example, we are closely working with MOO, and we have worked with Tech Ethics, United Nations Development of Economic and Social Affairs Department. And we are continuing to work with HKN, WIE, entrepreneurship foundations. So there is a lot more we are delivering this year. And we have a very successful site day celebration this year as well. There was an amazing partnership from our global audience. Again, one big call out here is that, as I said, we had a successful, partnership in the STA forum. We also have other engagements with the UN agencies that's coming up later in the year. For example, GSTIC. I mean, we will announce that shortly. But holistically, I think HAC is continuing to rise to newer growth and setting a new benchmark. I'm super thrilled with that. And of course, site has delivered more than 17,500 members this year, and we are really excited and proud about that as well. So next slide. Okay, so again, to quick summarize here, many of you on the call, you are already like a leader in your local regions. So I will definitely, urge you to create more awareness, publicize the upcoming call for proposals. And again, if you have not added site membership to your, membership, do that. Encourage your local section. If they don't have a site group, encourage them to open one. And if you already have one, make them to submit a proposal, in the upcoming, opportunities, whether it's our upcoming direct call fair or it's a partnership with regions or societies. And last but not the least, we have tons of materials in Ireland right now. So definitely participate in those courses and share some feedback, where you need some help. And remember, our goal here is to serve you, and we are here to serve you because this is our journey is not complete without serving your need. So definitely write to us if you need any further assistance or support here. Next slide. So with that said, I'll stop here. And again, I would like to thank both the steering committee for HAC and site and all the volunteer leaders and members to the globe. I think it is your involvement and engagement that we are able to deliver such a amazing year, for us in terms of our performance. So with that said, I would like to stop here and take questions from the audience. And again, huge kudos to the staff team, Holly, Juliana, and Betsy, for being the pillar behind these programs. I don't know, like without such a massive, and amazing staff team, I think it's very difficult to deliver this kind of impact. So, on behalf of all the global committee and our members, we would like to, thank our amazing staff team, as well here. Okay. So I think happy to take Q&A. So we'll stop here. And again, thanks to many of you for joining the call. I know it's late evening for some of you, and some folks it's going to be early in the day. So definitely we wanted to provide the opportunity for you to directly interact and ask some questions here.
So Sampath, we actually received one question during the registration process, and that question was, we know that HAC Insight has offered in the last 3 calls for proposals. The focus has been on response to COVID-19. Will there be any, I'll use the term regular call for proposals without that focus to be held this year?
Sure, great question. So yes, I think like primarily, as you rightly called out, the last 3 call fairs, the focus is on COVID because that's where the pressing needs are. So that's what we prioritize. But with that said, if you have a project which is more relevant and it's more important to the local community, definitely you can submit it. I think in the upcoming call fair, Holly, like correct me if I'm wrong here, I think you will have a category as others. You will be able to select that and make a statement why you think like why this is far more important than the pandemic thing. Definitely the committee will be happy to look into it. We don't want to limit ourselves for only for COVID. So definitely the answer to your question is the upcoming call fair. You do have the option to submit, but again, it is important that you demonstrate the significance why it is way more important than COVID, because we really don't want to put our volunteers on the ground where certain part of the world they are still facing the second and third wave challenges of COVID. So the safety and of our volunteer is the primary factor for us. So with that said, if you have a great project which can serve your local community, why not apply for it?
Thank you, Sampath. All right, we've got another question, and this one comes from Sarah. Sir, you have said about the vision that HAC would like to create a global ecosystem for humanitarian activities. Is there any chance that HAC can look forward to collaborate with the United Nations to impact society more directly?
Yeah, great question, Saurabh. And as I said, we already have delivered. As I said, there are 2 major programs which we got rolled out, right? The STA forum is a global forum that's led by UN agencies along with other stakeholders. So this is historically the first time that HAC we had our presence there. We kind of provided, our feet on the ground experience, how our site, which is basically a network of globally trained technologists, can contribute to it, right? And secondly, we also had a successful partnership with Tech Ethics and UN DESA basically earlier in the year. We are also actively engaged with other UN agencies. For example, we have been talking with the UN Tech Bank and so forth. So there are a lot of opportunities that we would like to pass on to our members, and it's very much it's happening as we speak right now. And again, we are also being a little strategic here. One size it's not going to fit all. So we are looking into avenues where we could bring together some of the global efforts from the partners like UN or Red Cross or NSRC, and see how best we could leverage, our volunteer in certain regions. So we are also not only looking at a global level, but we are also want to have a regionalized strategy where we could pass on to it. So to answer that is yes, very much, the collaborations with UN and industries are very actively being pursued by HAC this year.
Thank you, Sampath. And Saurabh also says thank you. Our next question comes from Chigosi. What is the time frame for approvals for project proposals? Call 1 had a deadline in March, but perhaps there are some project proposals for which a decision is still pending.
Yeah, great question, Chigoshi. I would call out that good call out. So as you see, we received the highest number of proposals in the history of HAC, right? We are flooded with proposals, which is great. It's a good to have problem, right? So we received 156 proposals, and then our team wanted to make sure we provide the justification, carefully vetting and guiding everyone. So if you have not heard so far, that means people are almost there, because I know 95% of the proposals have been communicated the decision, and we also have a call on Monday to close out on the remaining 10-15 proposals. So there's a high probability that if your proposal has not received feedback, basically it's waiting for the final decision announcement. So within the next 2 weeks, I expect the call should be announced. Now we want to do things little different for the second call. So for the second call, our plan is we are going to do a rolling review. That means as the proposal comes in, the committee is going to now meet more actively every few weeks to take a look at it. So again, the plan right now is we want to make all the final decisions for our first call closed out in the next week, and then for the second round we are going to have more rounds of review, so that we could paralyze and have some decisions much faster as well. So I think as I said, this has been a great year, and our reviewers are doing a great job, because they want to go back few times to make sure that they don't want to drop the ball. They want to give the opportunity to our members so they could be successful. But definitely, if you have not heard on the decision, you should be hearing back shortly, because indeed the projects committee is going to close out on the remaining few projects that's left out. So that's a good sign, I would say.
Thank you, Sampath. All right. Just a reminder to participants, if you have a question or a comment, an idea for discussion with Sampath, you can go ahead and put that either in the chat box or in the Q&A box, which you'll be able to find on the right-hand side of your screen. You can also use the raise your hand function. If those of you are familiar with WebEx, there's an option to raise hand. If you look to where your name is displayed, again on the right hand of your screen, you move your cursor to the right of your name, you'll be able to see that function.
Okay, so again, one thing definitely I want to call out here. I mean, there are many known names here as well. Glad to see good friend Thiago in Region 9. They're doing a great job there. Hey, Thiago, thanks a lot for joining us. A lot of great people like Saurabh, I know he's been involved in Region 10, the current joint fair proposal. Delighted to see him here. So many of you, you are contributing in your own way to your local regions and local partners. That's exactly what our mission is, right? Again, for every region also in July, we plan to spend some time with all the regional coordinators as well. We have a committee this year for that. So we would like to pass on some of the larger opportunities what we have crafted, at a HAC level. So as I said, it's going to be the next 6 months. it's going to be, you are going to have a huge buffet, and it's your choice to pick up wherever you want to participate, whether you want project or you want to be part of you know the reviewer, or if you want to be part of a committee of practice. There's going to be a lot more avenues for you all. So with that said, I also wanted to call out a few more things, right? So we want to actually increase the engagement of our volunteers, right? That's one area where we thought like, you may not always have the time to do the project, but how about if you have interested to become a reviewer? So this month we are again having a specific program that's going to be launched already. It's basically a call for reviewers. So basically, if you have a passion that you wanted to like, participate in the project review process, we kind of, like having the special engagement program. So definitely take a look at that. And that announcement is going to be going out in about 2 weeks from now, 2 to 3 weeks from now. So that's another opportunity for you to participate and give it back basically to the larger site community here. Okay, any additional questions? Okay, again, if there's no more questions, then again,
Yes, we just have one submitted again from Chigosi. What is the possibility of having a project approved for a budget above $5,000?
okay, great question. Again, the entire premise, what we have seen in the past is that, like when the dollar amount is more, sometimes people try to think like, if the range is between 5 to 10,000, everybody wants to hit that 9,999 number. It's not necessary. So if you have a project and it has a merit that it needs, then I think you can make the justification in the budget. But right now, the model which HAC and site are encouraging all the volunteers is to stick to the $5,000. That means we could empower more members throughout the world. But it doesn't necessarily mean that we are going to shoot down if you have more than 5,000, right? Maybe we'll encourage you to find a local partner. Maybe we'll encourage you to find other avenues within IEEE, right? That is the model. From HAC and site, right now, the idea is to ballpark at 5,000 so that we could support more partners. But if you have more than 5,000, we highly encourage you to explore other possibilities, maybe within the local regions or local society partnerships or local sections. And if not, you can give the justification, what kind of impact you are talking about to the what tune you are talking about here. Maybe you are talking about $6,000, $6,500, and say you make a stronger case there, then there's a possibility HAC can cover it. But if you are talking about like $25,000, then it's not going to be covered, right? Because the tune of the level of like delta, what you're talking about 5,000 matters here, and the level of impact also matters here. So I would say consider your impact and consider the relevance of that impact to your cost, and then you can make a case out of that. But definitely I think you could make a case in your application saying that, hey, my project is over 5,000 by certain dollar amount. The reason is that the reason is basically you want to cover more people or there's more impact. The committee could then make a review and then they could come back to you. Either they will try to leverage you for the additional gap to a regional partnership, or they could give you some recommendations, or we could cover it based on the merit of the request here.
Thank you, Sampath. Don't see any additional questions at this time.
Okay, so really, I'm grateful to everyone for you all taking time to connect with us, and we will do a couple of more, fireside chats probably in the next few months. As you see, like, we would love to hear basically, like, what do you need, what are the additional avenues. Our goal is we want to create awareness for you. Like, we are doing all these great efforts to bring more opportunity. We want you to be aware, and we want you to participate and pass on that message to your local, site groups. So definitely, definitely participate in the upcoming call for reviewers, upcoming projects funding opportunity. Look for the region funding opportunity, the special society partnership avenues, contribute to it. Definitely participate in the upcoming global summit planned in November. These are some really, really important programs which we are rolling out here. And as always, right, if there's a specific need or like assistance that your team needs, write to us. We are here to serve you all. Okay, so with that said, again, thank you each one of you for being a change maker in your local community, and your gift of your time and leadership to the site program is very well appreciated. Again, if you have additional questions or support, feel free to write to us. So again, we are really thankful to everyone who are able to make it today and who is making this success possible for us this year. We are really grateful to all the volunteers and all the site groups throughout the world for your amazing contributions, for site and hack activities this year. So with that said, I'll stop here and I will wish you all to be safe, hale and healthy, and keep continuing the great work what you have been doing for site and hack. And we look forward to continue this engagement and interactions, in the next few months.
Sampath, do you have time for one more question? We
Sure,
got
yeah.
one that was submitted right at the last minute. Okay. This question also comes from Sarah.
Okay.
And in terms, this relates to project budget, and I believe it could be specific even to the process of, the joint funding program that HAC is currently hosting with Region 10. Now, if a site group, it receives funds from HAC and completes their project, would it be possible to transition to a business proposal after the HAC funded project has concluded?
Yeah, so there are two things, right? I mean, HAC projects are primarily on the community-centric point, right? We are not into product development so far, but I think business, I mean, if the idea here is if I create a business plan out of it, yes, you could, right? I mean, we're not going to stop it, right? But again, it has to be vetted carefully, like, like which project you are talking about, what is the nature of the product, what you're talking about, what kind of responsibility you are expecting from IEEE. So I think yeah, probably like it's worth to take a look at the specific project here, because we cannot give a single answer that's going to fit everyone. For example, you may create an application which was funded by HAC. Now you want to create an enterprise out of it. Yeah, I mean, that's a good avenue. But then what you are expecting from IEEE, there has to be clarity there, right? And if you think like, okay, to create a business enterprise, should I get any funding from HAC? That's probably doesn't fit under the hack model of it, right? There could be other avenues there, right? So remember, the role of hack project is to work backwards from the need of community and to create solutions involving our volunteer, right? It's an ecosystem, right? But then entrepreneurship is totally a different ecosystem. So you gain the experience, the knowledge, and the necessary skills to become a successful entrepreneurship through through your participation in HAC programs. But then if the goal is to look for specific funding avenues, right now the model is not like it's not going to align with us. But with that said, we'll be able to help you to find the right avenue to fit in there. How you could, I mean, we can give you directions. There is programs like IEEE Entrepreneurship, which we are working right now. So there could be some possibilities that may emerge in the next few months. But as of now, I think if the ask is getting guidance and mentors, it's possible. But if the ask is primarily on the funding part of it, it has to be vetted and reviewed on a case by case basis.
Thank you, Sampath.
Okay. Any
Sorry
more
about
last question?
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you, Juliana. Any more additional questions? We'll probably going to go for just like we'll see 1, 2, 3. Just making sure we have. I think we have answered all the questions in the chat window here. Okay, so again, we are super thrilled to meet you all today. And again, if there are any additional questions, feel free to write to us. Stay safe and healthy. Again, thank you, Holly and Juliana, for helping us to have this organizing this session. And thanks to all the site volunteers out there. You are our true leaders, inspiring leaders. So keep up your great work. And as I said, I look forward to see many more proposal in the second round of our call fair, which is happening on July 12th. So definitely encourage your local members and local partners, everybody to submit a proposal. And I'm counting on everyone on the call today to be an ambassador to promote the site and hack activities for this year.